Hi everyone, Jason Mercortis here with Landmark Property Management. Are you trying to buy your first rental property? Or maybe you're trying to buy your next rental property, but you're strapped for cash and you're trying to figure out how you're going to afford it. Trust me when I say we've all been there before. Today, I'm going to walk you through a few tips and tricks or a few different ways to purchase your next rental property with no or low money down. So of course this is an exciting topic to anybody who's eager to start or continue their real estate journey, but they're held back by not having the money for a down payment. How do you buy a rental property with no money down? This is the million-dollar question, or maybe multi-million-dollar question, because if you can figure this out, you can scale quicker and take your real estate portfolio to new heights. Now, buying a property with little to no money down, to me, always sounded like a scam. It was BS, it was whatever. But as I learned more and more, I can assure you, I can guarantee, because I've done this, some of these myself, that it can be done. So stick around. Today I'm going to share my top tips for purchasing your next rental property with no or low money down. All right, I got 7 tips for you today, so hopefully 1 or 2 of these resonate. Number 1, use a VA or FHA loan. So if you are a veteran, number 1, thank you for your service. Number 2, if you're not familiar with the VA loan, you need to research this. Google it right now, check it out. It is an amazing product that allows you right out of the gates to bring 0% down. So can't really beat that. One thing to keep in mind, it is an owner-occupied financing product, so you do have to live in the property. Now, the trick to that is buying like a 2-flat, 3-flat, or 4-flat. You can't go above that 4 units, so that your tenants in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th unit offset your living expense. Eventually, after a year or so, whenever you're comfortable and ready, you can move out and you have a 4-flat that you put 0% down. If you're not a veteran and you don't have access to that, you can always go FHA, which is 3.5% down. Again, same thing applies. It is owner occupied, so you'd have to do a multi-unit to make it a true rental property play. So years back, my wife and I did this. It was a phenomenal deal. We had to put 3.5% down, but we offset that with some closing cost credits. I think we got 2%, something in that ballpark. So we were down to, what is that? 1.5% down, okay? Still had to come up with, you know, a decent chunk of change. However, I am a broker, so I got a 2.5% commission. So basically at the end of the day, you're getting paid to purchase this property. There are a number of different ways to structure it. If you're not a broker and you're not gonna get that commission to offset that down payment, you know, you don't have to sell for 2% closing costs. Maybe you do 3.5, or 4, you know, whatever it is, whatever works best for you. However, just keep in mind, there are those options. So again, 3.5% down. Hey, I don't really have that money, but we could do 3.5% closing costs to offset that. Number 2 is lease options. So this is an interesting method that is very often overlooked. So a lot of people call this rent to own, and you can basically approach a landlord or an owner of a property and basically say, hey, I would like to buy this, or I would like the option to purchase this, just I can't purchase it today. So there's a ton of different ways to structure that. Basically, you lock the property up under this option, and you could start making your payments, and then at the time of purchase, usually a portion of that payment goes toward your down payment. So again, those are not super common in the industry, but if you're creative and you do your research, it is a really great option for you to check out. Number 3 is hard money lenders or private money lenders. When I was flipping back in the day, I used to use hard money lenders. Most of the time, they want 10% down. So I would still put some cash into the deal. That is until I started combining these tactics. So instead of putting my own 10%, I would go to, you know, family, friends, or, you know, people I knew that wanted to invest in real estate. And I'd say, hey, I need, you know, if I need to raise 10% for my deal, I'd get 90% from the hard money lender, and then I would get 10% from a secondary lender. You know, you pay them both interest, but you're out of pocket with $0 down. And then you can really do that, kind of rinse and repeat, do that as many times as you can find the money for. So great option. Number 4 is seller financing or owner financing. Right now, with interest rates as crazy as they are, this is a phenomenal option. And I am not an expert in seller financing by any means, so I would highly recommend, you know, of course, Googling it, checking out YouTube. Pace Morby, if you haven't heard of him, huge real estate guy, and his like bread and butter is creative and seller financing. Basically, the way this works is the owner owns it outright, or there's a ton of different ways you can do subject to, which we'll talk about later. But if the owner owns it outright, rather than you getting the money from the bank, the seller acts as the bank and says, hey, the property's $1 million, I will lend you that $1 million. You know, it'll be a 5-year term, 10-year term with a 30-year AM at a, you know, 3% interest rate. So this way you pay probably a little bit more for the property. The seller gets their price, but you get your terms. And when you take a look at that 5 or 10-year term, you are probably going to be spending, or that mortgage is going to cost you a lot less than it would if you went to a bank and paid 7% or whatever the current interest rate is. The next one is JV partnerships, another great one to get started with. Maybe you have a specialty or expertise in like finding deals, or property management like myself, or the construction end, and you don't necessarily have the money. Well, there are plenty of people that say, hey, I'm a doctor, I'm an attorney, I'm a, you know, whatever. I don't have the time to go find deals. I have the cash. I got $50K sitting in my savings or my IRA, and they can lend you that cash, or they don't lend it to you because they're your partner at that point. So they're going to bring the cash and down payment, and you're going to bring whatever you bring. Again, that may be the deal, the, you know, your construction background, whatever the case. But finding those partners and joint venturing or JVing could be super powerful, and just basically allow you to create strong partnerships that allow you to scale quicker. Number 6 is going to be real estate syndication. So this is like, you know, JV partnerships on steroids. So basically, this can get a little bit complex. You have your GPs and your LPs, your general partners, which are the guys and girls that are actually doing the work. They are finding the deal, they're raising the capital, they're doing the asset management, they're executing on the business plan. And then you have your LPs, which are your limited partners. And those folks are basically just passive investors. Here's 50K, here's 100K, and then, you know, they get their monthly or quarterly distributions, whatever that may be. But it works out really well for both parties. Usually LPs, again, high net worth individuals, they don't have a ton of time, but they do have cash they want to invest. And the GPs, they can get into the deal. They may have real estate expertise, but they can get into the deal with little to no money down. And then the last thing is going to be subject to. I just touched on this a little bit, but subject to is taking the property subject to the existing financing. So especially in commercial, well, there's a couple different ways to do that. You can do wraps, or you can truly assume the debt. Again, not necessarily my expertise. There's better videos out there, better resources out there, but a lot of commercial debt, especially, you know, multifamily 5+ units, those mortgages are assumable. So you can actually assume that debt. And if you have a mortgage that was written a few years ago and the interest rate is 3.5–4%, it's going to make way more sense, allow you to cash flow way better, and actually pay a better price than if you were to try to get a new mortgage today at 7% or whatever the current interest rate is. So again, subject to, as they call it, sub to, and that's basically subject to the existing mortgage or existing debt. So definitely something to consider, definitely something to look a little deeper at and learn. So, all right. I hope this helped. Again, 7 different ways to do it. I hope 1 or 2 of these things resonated. Once you learn them, if you start combining them, that's when it gets super, super powerful. But again, if you have any questions or need any help, I love talking real estate. I'm always talking shop every day. So feel free to reach out. Our website is chicagospropertymanagement.com. That's Chicagos with an S, propertymanagement.com. Or just give us a call. Thank you.